Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday? No, it can't be Monday. Thursday stream. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Hey, Astro B London. Hey, Dark Knight, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, sorry. Look, I'm all over the place today because I'm in a lot of pain right now. So bear with me, folks. I'm still trying to figure out what it is, but it seems to me like a sciatic nerve is what it seems to me. Don't turn this into Monday. I don't want another Monday. Same, Pat Rad. Maybe subconsciously I was so bummed out by the possibility of it being a Monday. Madame Defarge, how's it going? No. Wait, sorry. Incorrect. Let me rewind that for a second. It isn't Thursday. It's Friday Junior, okay? Friday Junior. Tomorrow is Friday. Good. Hope you're all well. Well, I'm hanging in there, Madame Defarge. It's been a tough couple days, I'll tell you that. Last night, was the, the apex of, this weird pain I keep getting, down like, from my back down to my right leg, and I'm pretty sure that what it is like a sciatic nerve. I'm pretty sure what it is. It's a sciatic nerve, which the only thing that can be dealt with is like massages and make sure that you take anti-inflammatory. Good. It's not nerve damage. It's like a pinched nerve or something to that effect, because all of the symptoms, or the way it seems like it could have happened, all points to bad posture, which I'm sure you guys can tell. It all points to bad posture. It all points to the fact that I sit, because of my job, I sit for 10 hours a day. I don't think I pulled a muscle. But I sit for long periods of time because of my work, and it seems like between bad posture, I must have like hit a nerve, or I must have messed up like something between that, because like from what I understand, that's how that happens, right? Bad posture and sitting down for a long period of time could potentially lead to that, I think. It's a time, spa day. Hey, Pat Rat. Yeah, it really does feel like that's possibly what it is, a sciatic nerve or something like that. You know what, Madame Defarge, I was thinking the same thing. A chiropractor. Yeah, maybe Astro London, a chiropractor, right? To kind of just like really get rid of that. I also read that hot and cold packs, between hot and cold packs, massages, I have a little hand massager somewhere over there. Hot and cold packs, massagers, and a little bit of anti-inflammatory, you should be okay. I couldn't pin it down because it's not coming from my leg. It's not my legs, that's for sure. Time for a stand-up desk? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, or at least take a few minutes a couple of times an hour and stand up and walk around. Yeah, spread it forward. I think I'm gonna have to do that. It does help. I have to remind myself to stand up. Yes, and do some stretches. If you have a posture problem, some gentle... God, I'm so out of it. Some gentle bending exercises may help. I was like, what are genetic bending exercises? Am I supposed to will my DNA? No. Some gentle bending exercises, yes. That I also read that in order to help alleviate sciatic pain, or like a pinched nerve, because it's a pinched nerve that comes from your buttocks, from sitting down, from having bad posture. I think. Like, I'll do more research on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read last night. And definitely stretching, definitely walking around a couple of times a day if you can't work standing up. Definitely massages, definitely anti-inflammatory, and hot and cold packs. That's what I was looking at last night. I think I couldn't sleep until like 1 a.m. or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, lower back through the hips and buttocks and down each leg. Yeah, like this kind of like is classic. Sciatica refers to the pain that radiates along the path of the sciatic nerve, which branches from your lower back through hips and buttocks down each leg. Typically, sciatica affect only one side of your body, which is my right side. Sciatica is most commonly occurred when a herniated disc bone spur, the spine narrowing of the spine, compresses part of the nerve. Oh, I don't know if it's like that, but although the pain associated with sciatica can be severe, most cases resolve with non-operative treatments. People who have severe sciatica, no, I think this is just like, it's not to the point like that, but it definitely gets close to the idea of, it seems like right here, exactly what it's describing, through the hips, buttocks, and down one side of my leg. But I don't know if I'm suffering from numbness, nor do I think I have a herniated disc or bone spur. I think it's a product of bad posture too. Yes, please, pray for my buttocks, please. Is Finance Coffee good or just not bad and a sponsor? I wish they were a sponsor. They're actually not that bad. They're actually not that bad. Huh. Well, shit. Spread it forward. So, the pain gets really sharp if I move my back in a certain direction, and I move my position in a certain way. It just goes right down that one side. It just goes straight down that one side. I don't know. Yes, Pat Red. Finance Coffee is actually not that bad. I have a I ordered a couple of bags. They're not like a sponsor. They're more like a affiliate. There we go. And it's not bad. It's not bad. I wouldn't put anything there if I haven't tried it myself. I'm just a coffee lover, so. Given your youthful years, you can surely do a little work to get away from the issue. Yeah, you're right, Astro. I think that I do need to be more attentive to my posture, and I do need to be more attentive to my back and sitting. Be your own coffee of war, true, and mind my posture. That sounds like a sciatic nerve for sure. I have a personal massage tool. Yeah, I have it on the other side of these panels. That I've been using constantly, but man, I've never experienced anything like that. Oof. Unbelievable to me. Wait a minute. Not Richard Warlock with a tier 1 subscription for 10 months? Thank you so much. How did I miss that? Dang it, Twitch. I was too busy complaining about my my back pain here, or I guess, I don't know, back to lower leg pain here that I didn't even notice. Not Richard Warlock, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. For those of you who haven't already, Wait, let me see if I could do this. Please go check out Left Flank Vets. Okay? And if you folks hang out in the Majority Report stream, the Majority Report stream is actually just a Left Flank Vets waiting room. That's what it is. That's all it is. Majority Report is just a Left Flank Vets waiting room. Give me validation, and validation has been given. But for real, not Richard Warlock. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Every time Marcus hops in the chat, I always make sure to give him a shout out real quick. And Samuel's our dad. That's pretty funny. True. Man, I just can't believe it. Like, last night, I'm telling you, like, I never experienced that before, because I used to... Okay, so, a little bit, I guess I should set the stage, for the context of this. A long time ago, I used to do a lot of martial arts. I did martial arts from the time I was a kid, all the way until, like, 18, and even beyond, but I wouldn't consider it past 18, because afterwards, I did more teaching than I did practice, right? I did more teaching than I did like workouts and stuff like that, or the actual martial arts, right? I just taught kids in our dojo, right? So because of that, I already have kind of an issue with like my back from time to time, so I thought it was a little bit like that, but nope, this is completely different. So, holy yikes. Yeah, I've never experienced anything like this. I thought it was just the normal pain, but normal pain usually lasts like a day or two, but this has been almost a week. So, I'm starting to think like, wait a minute, we're on some unknown territory here. Not cool. Not cool. Alright folks, we've got a few headlines to go through. Not a lot of variety of news, but we definitely have some headlines to go through, so I'll just start with some here. Yesterday was more of a mold session than anything, to be honest, and I'm still like triggered. I'm still giga triggered about this whole situation with the budget reconciliation bill, and I will continue to be giga triggered until they pass something or they don't. At this point, the budget reconciliation, like, they shouldn't even call it a social safety net expansion, because it doesn't do anything in regards to that. Like, you get like a little bit of an extension to like maybe a couple of things, but it's not really a climate proposal. Not really. It's not really a massive expansion, a massive transformative expansion of any type of social safety net. It's not of that either. So I don't know what they are touting here, but well, the UK makes one more step towards fascism with the BBC hosting turfs and putting out anti-trans propaganda. Yikes. We should have a channel point redemption to remind you to stand up and stretch. Yeah, I should probably put I should probably make it twice so that I can stretch at least 2 times in 2 hours. And I need to set reminders on my phone too. That's unbelievable, thinking Sabercat. So yeah, yesterday, man, the news just keeps getting darker. Jesus, thinking Sabercat. Last night, was a pretty much a mold session, and probably will still continue to be a mold session. I mean, at this point, like, what exactly is the budget reconciliation intending to accomplish at this point? I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not saying to just throw it out in the trash, but like, really, like, what's the plan here? What exactly is the plan? Like, what do you? I don't get it. This is incredibly frustrating, and the more I think about it, the more like the more giga triggered I get. It's unbelievable to me. Last night, I wanted to touch up on something before we start running through the gauntlet. Last night, I was reading some articles about like President Joe Manchin's continuing efforts to stifle any type of progress, and he mentioned something about the cost of all of these things, and he said that he didn't want to put his grandchildren, he didn't want to pass that debt, which is like a common conservative trope, right? He didn't want to put his grandchildren through leave his grandchildren that debt, right? Except his grandchildren will never have to worry a day in their life. Their grandchildren to Joe Manchin, an heir. They're gonna be heirs to like a coal plant, or as Darknet just pointed out, they're gonna be heirs to like a coal mine or a coal plant. What are you talking about? That he's worried that he's going to pass this debt to his grandchildren, and he can't in good conscience do that. Bro, you damn well know that that's not how that works. If that's your excuse, that is some weak sauce excuse. I'm sorry. It just hit me this morning, and I wanted to touch up on that. That's right, he doesn't want his grandchildren to not have a coal plant. Unbelievable to me. Maybe a juggling option. I can't juggle. He was worried about the burden of the generations to come. Yeah, well, my dude, it's gonna be really burdening when the future generations don't have access to water, when the future generations aren't able to, when the future generations are facing a widespread food scarcity, when the future generations are facing rising sea levels, when the future generation is experiencing unprecedented back-to-back heat waves that become the new norm, pluvial flooding that becomes the new norm. That's what you're condemning the next generation and the next generations to come. That's what Joe Manchin is condemning the next generation to. Right, Madame Defarge, you can't. Will somebody think? Will somebody think about the grandchildren of Joe Manchin, who will only be able to afford 3 vacation homes and 3 yachts instead of 5 or whatever? You turn on the environmental policy. Oh god, here we go. I gotta read this one. Ah, boo. Hold on. For research purposes, nobody should do this. But this is for research purposes because, research. Educational purposes. Okay. Oh, I don't even have my screen on. Okay, nobody saw that. Good. Excellent. Okay, so I have some of these pulled up here, so I'm going to start the gauntlet. But yeah, I just wanted to touch up on that because it just reminded me of like, wait a minute. Joe Manchin's grandchildren are never going to have to shoulder any of this burden regardless. Like, any of this fiscal, like, this is why it's such a meme to think about, like, oh, will somebody think about the debt that the future, nah. It's because everyone wants shits in the rivers. Yeah, exactly, thinking Sabercat. Nothing I want more than just sewage and pollution in my water. I'm just so upset about this whole thing. All right, folks. Yeah, let's run through the gauntlet, right? I have some of them up, but we've got a few. Okay, so okay, wait a minute. Where is here we are. And then the follow-up to that. All right. I think we've got some ducks in a row to line up here. Morning. Howdy. I'd say, Joe, shut the STFU, stop lying as a lie. To work, it needs logic. No, it doesn't. Wait, no, it doesn't. For a lie to work, it does not necessarily need logic. No, I'll push back on that one. See, Donald Trump. Dude, Donald Trump literally has been pushing this wild conspiracy theory about the election has been stolen or whatever. And it's not based on any type of reality whatsoever, right? It's like he continues to push this and there's no real logic behind it at all. And people still ate it up. Well, his supporters ate it up hook, line, and sinker. And as I played the video last night, which should disturb people, at that Charlie Kirk event, where the guy literally said, the Charlie Kirk Toilet Paper USA had a not a guest, but had a audience member had an audience member experience a gamer moment where he was like, yeah, when do we get to use the guns? When do we start, Robloxing? When do we get to Roblox people? And it's one thing if it was just like one, deranged person. It's one thing if it was one like delusional person who's but the crowd was cheering. The crowd cheered and clapped when he said that. Joe Manchin isn't Trump, really. Manchin is a Republican. Biden should literally kick him from the party. Yeah, but the problem is they're perfectly fine with it. I know Joe Manchin isn't Trump, but nonetheless, he's basically, like you said, a Republican. But they're not gonna do it. I saw that Charlie had to play it off like it wasn't his intention. Yeah, like imagine months and months and months. We're what, almost November now, and it's like a year almost. We're literally almost a year in, still talking about that, and you're surprised when people show up to your events and being like, yeah, when do we start using? When do we get to Roblox people? Like, wait, what? And he was, yeah, exactly. And you try to play it off like, oh, I denounced this and all. Bro, you've been at this for months. For almost a year, I should say. More specifically. Donald Trump has been at this for almost a year. Charlie Kirk has been at this for almost a year. What do you think people are going to do when the only thing they hear is that there's no recourse, the election was stolen from you, you have to save your country, you have no other option because everybody else is against you, according to them, and you can't vote. Your elections are useless because they're all rigged, according to them, of course. I mean, what do you think people are going to? What is the natural conclusion that people are going to arrive to? They're going to feel, in their mind, especially those who are already predisposed to thinking like that, they're going to think, wait, my only other recourse of action is violence. And so it's starting to manifest itself when people like that guy come up there and literally say, like, yeah, when do we get to use the guns? When do we start Robloxing people? And his specific words were, when do we start? How many elections are they going to steal before we start Robloxing people? Or sorry, how many elections are they going to steal before we start Robloxing these people? These people meaning the opposition, meaning anybody I don't like. The ultimate grifter, yeah. True. Unbelievable to me. It's very jarring, like Matt Binder said. It's very jarring to hear that because it's like, again, it's one thing if it's just like one dude who's going off on like an unhinged rant, right? It's another to hear him say these things and then get an applause and cheers. Unbelievable. Alright folks, we got a couple of headlines to go through. We gotta run the gauntlet. Just to go over this one really quickly. Government U-turn on dumping sewage in English rivers. Ministers reverse the opposition to bid to place legal duty on water companies to prevent harm from the storm overflows. Wait. Reverse opposition to bid to place legal duty on water companies. What? That's... yikes. Why is this even like... Wait. Why is this even privatized? What? The UK government has backed down in an escalating row over water companies dumping raw sewage into English rivers by ending its opposition to legislation to clamp down on the practice. An amendment approved by the House of Lords to force water companies to reduce the harm caused by sewage overflows was last week stripped out of the Environment Bill following a tight House of Commons vote despite the widespread public support. Yikes. This led to a storm of criticisms of the Conservative MPs who voted down the non-partisan amendment, with pressure mounting this week. Well, I hope they get voted out of office. If you're in England, yeah, vote these people out. Check who your MP is, vote them out. The initial amendment proposed by the Duke of Wellington, God, this is so weird to me, of a crossbench peer called on companies to take all reasonable steps by law to stop raw sewage being discharged into rivers. Okay, but they don't care. Companies do not care. Unless they're being forced by regulations and legislation, they do not care. The Duke's revised amendment calling on companies to take action as soon as was reasonable was not withdrawn in the House of Lords on Tuesday night and passed in the House of Lords by 213 to 60. Downing Street initially rejected the revised amendment to the bill, which rewrites Britain's post-Brexit ecological rules, but late Tuesday afternoon, George Eustace and the Environment Secretary announced a government U-turn, confirming that the bill would be strengthened with a government amendment that will see a duty enshrined into law to ensure water companies secure a progressive reduction in the adverse impacts of discharges from storm overflows. Here's a great big brain move. Why are these things national? Why are these things privatized? Why is something like water privatized? What? Hey, if they can't handle it, if these If these private companies can't handle it, why are they in the hands of private companies? In the face of growing public anger, ministers have been concerned the Tory MPs who abstained in last week's vote might vote in favor of the new Lord's Amendment when it returns to the Commons. The timing of the vote was especially awkward for Boris Johnson and the Prime Minister as international delegates arrived for COP26, which begins in Glasgow on Sunday. The government had previously argued that the Environment Bill already included provisions to deliver progressive reductions in harm caused by storm overflows and estimated the total of elimination of sewage outflow could cost consumers 150 billion pounds. Okay, but like public health? What? Yeah, exactly. Christine Colvin, Director of Partnerships and Communications at the River Trust, a charity, said this looks like the intent of the Duke of Wellington's amendment will now be met by the government. It's a victory for all those who have stood up for the health of our rivers, including thousands of members of the general public who have made their wishes clear. Wait, I'm sorry. Are they going to make sure or not? I'm confused. All right, here's my final take on this. If it's true, because it sounds like here, I'm sorry if I'm ignorant on how like things work in the UK, but if I am correct and they are insinuating here, implying here that water companies, in other words, water companies like private companies exist. I don't know why. Beyond me. Anodyne, how's it going? Can you send that to me in whispers? Send that to me in whispers. Oh, look at that. We've got a VIP in chat today. How's it going? Wait, I need to make you VIP, so I think VIPs can post links, I think. Yeah, I think via VIPs can post links. If not, send it to me via whispers. I was just posting a stupid clip from MR. Yes, no. There we go. Yeah. Thank you. Please share.
Me. Except for me. They're all me. Except for me. They're all crazy. I'm America. Me. Except for me. They're all crazy. I'm America.
And of course, the classic Nug Wrangler with the monkas. VIP stands for very important, imposter poster. Yeah. No, you're right. Very important poster. This is the same party when faced with backlash over the added expenses to holidays due to Brexit that the British people should have UK holidays with beaches with raw sewage outlets. These people are just horrible. True. Classic MR content over here, ladies and gentlemen. Gals, pals, and M-pals. This is the same party with faced with a backlash. Yes, that is. Oh yeah, I read this. Thank you. Better than the very infertile posters who call into MR. That was classic. Anodyne. We went over that clip yesterday. I'm not a libertarian. I'm an objectivist. A distinction without a difference. I've watched that clip so many times. I swear. I love how like the IMer at the end was like, oh, I can't believe you're still talking to that guy. I had to tune out. Like, okay, dude, clearly you don't understand. And clearly, you haven't watched MR enough to know that, like, Sam lives off this. Like, that is literally catnip to Sam. If you tell Sam that you are a libertarian, a real libertarian, Like, that's it. That's the fun half. That's the fun half right there. I can't believe he called in Tamar a few days after Sam clowned on him so hard with this. I was blocked in chat. Please unblock me. Jesus Christ. Nice meme. Nice meme. Biden expected to meet with the House Democrats to push progressives to pass infrastructure bill. President Joe Manchin. President Joe Biden is expected to attend the Thursday morning meeting with all House Democrats shortly before his trip to Europe in a last-minute push to get progressives to vote for a stalled bipartisan infrastructure bill. Okay, but like that's not the plan, dude. Listen, buddy, pal, my dude, Mr. President, your original plan was to make sure that you pass both of these things in tandem. It was supposed to be a way to cement your Build Back Better agenda. It was supposed to be a wedge to make sure it passes. And now it's all gone to hell. I at this point I don't even know. I don't even know what the point is. You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at this point. Exactly, the BOFA plan, basically. I love how Sam always, like, from time to time, he gets caught with those. I think he got caught with Ligma. I think Emma caught him with the BOFA. And I think there was another one that he got that he got caught, and he oh man, Sam literally just reads Garga. Oh man, Denda. I think he got caught with Ben Dover. I think he got caught with Ben Dover too. By an IMer. I think an IMer submitted his IM or their IM. Mike Hunt. The Republicans mentioned in cinema fight Biden. The president can't fire them. No, you're right. You're right, and I think that a lot of this gridlock in Congress. I think James Napper yesterday kind of touched up on it, but a lot of these gridlock problems with Congress, especially, is because, well, the system, the democratic system that we have, or whatever semblance of it, the facade of the democratic system that we have is lacking, and specifically with the Senate, which, because of its undemocratic nature, it's kind of broken, isn't it? The bill's now comparable to old candy wrappers and expired coupons. Yeah, basically. I mean, like, that's what I was trying to say. Like, what is the clip? Sorry, I'm, like, reading chat. What is the point? What is really the point?
Wolf, I am Sam.
A bald eagle flamer.
Bug a Wolf, I am Sam. I want to apologize for my Ligma variant joke earlier in the week. I'm a big fan of the show and appreciate the work you do. On a more serious note, the Delta variant is ravaging the little-known city of Gargalon. Thoughts and prayers. Have a nice weekend. I don't know really what that means, but I know it is a joke.
Gargle on my...
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Emma. That's perfect. Emma seems to be very, very quick on the draw with that. Emma's very quick on the draw with that. Yeah, they're crumbs. Then they're basically crumbs. Biden and Pelosi can always amend the bill. I don't know if Biden can amend the bill. I don't think Pelosi can either. Well, maybe she can actually. She can hold a, I think, vote to then add things to it and then kick it back to the Senate, but like the Senate has to approve it, which is the problem. The Senate then has to approve it, which is the problem. Hey, Gallo. Okay, so President Biden is expected to return. Okay, so yeah, the stalled bipartisan infrastructure bill. House Speaker Pelosi is aiming to hold a vote Thursday on the $550 billion measure, but progressives have insisted that a larger social safety net bill proceed alongside the Senate-passed infrastructure bill package. Democrats, however, have yet to finalize the social policy bill due to sharp disagreements between conservative and progressives. I'm sorry, but I refuse to call these people moderates. Biden's expected visit on Thursday, first reported by CNN, could briefly delay its planned departure for overseas summits. For overseas summits, but White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters on Wednesday that there's flexibility built into his schedule. The House Democratic Caucus meeting is scheduled for 9 a.m., where Biden is expected to provide an update on the Build Back Better agenda. At this point, like, why are you even calling it Build Back Better? You're not building anything. You're not building back, or you're not building anything at all. Jesus Christ. And progressives. Wait, so now you're throwing the ball back on the progressives? To help pass the infrastructure bill. The Senate passed that measure in August with support from Democrats and Republicans. Biden, yeah, okay, I see the plan. I knew it. Alright, I see it. Why don't they keep it how it was in the beginning and force Sinema and Manchin to show the country they're pieces of shit and air the vote everywhere? Yeah, that's what should happen, Dendera. There should be a non-stop campaign on Arizona and West Virginia saying, hey, Joe Manchin doesn't want seniors to have eye care, hearing aids, and dental care. Why? Joe Manchin doesn't want folks to have 2 years, young folks to have 2 years of community college. Why? Joe Manchin is pushing back on the idea of expanding child tax credits or whatever else he's against. Oh yeah, paid leave. Joe Manchin is against paid leave. Why? That should be non-stop. Non-stop. The same thing with Arizona. The same thing with Arizona. The Senate passed that bill in August. Oh yeah, Biden signaled in a tweet that a deal could be reached getting key components of his agenda passed. Universal preschool, historic climate investments. Nah, the biggest chunk of it was already taken out. You know that Joe Manchin isn't going to go for it. You know that. He told you. He's told us. He's told everybody. Alright? He's told everybody to just get That's it. That's right. Joe Manchin just loves being an evil coal baron. That's exactly what he is. Not in the good way. I just don't get it. Lower healthcare costs, which, to my knowledge, didn't Joe Manchin also oppose this? They're all within our reach. Let's bring these bills over the finish line. Look, buddy, the Democratic majority, like the razor-thin 50-50 split, was delivered to you on the basis that you would do something. Okay? It was the Senate, the people came out to vote. The people came out and delivered the Senate because you said that this was what it was needed to get something done, okay? To improve this country, to improve people's lives. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of part of your original platform, especially when it comes to delivering the Senate. That's why the Senate was delivered to you. That's literally the only reason the Senate was delivered to you. was based on the platform, on the idea that you would be, that the Democratic Party would be there to assist and to help the people. That's why they won. That's why they won. And quite frankly, the ideas on paper weren't that bad, to be honest. Milk toast, but they weren't that bad. We need an emotionally charged ad that shows the country that Manchin has conflict of interest and is only there for that. Yeah. Like, I mean, it should be non-stop. All we need is ads. All we need is ads. Bum, ba-da-da-da. All we need is ads. Bum, ba-da-da-da. Sorry. My cat's looking at me all weird, like, what? Why are you like this? But it's not really a majority unless it's a super majority because of the filibuster. Yeah, that's true, Pat Rad, but the whole point of the budget reconciliation is that it wouldn't be a problem. That's why we delivered the Senate to the Democratic Party. The unprecedented ground game in Georgia to win, against all odds, the 2 seats. Because of the budget reconciliation that circumvents the filibuster, that isn't threatened by the filibuster. That was the entire point. And now you just, and now the Democratic Party just spat in the face of everybody. It's really infuriating. Do better. Jesus Christ. Democratic leaders have struck an optimistic tone about negotiations over the safety net bill, which contains key components of Biden's Build Back Better agenda, but there's still a number of unresolved issues. Like the level of incompetency, it's just like over 9,000. Can we veto a senator? No. I hope it's a play to drop the filibuster. They're not going to do that. What would make a senator resign? I don't know. At this point, anything is okay. Anything is okay. Old age, death is the only thing that would make a senator resign. Conservative Democrats, especially Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Madam President Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, have taken issues with several aspects of Biden's spending agenda and have sought a smaller price tag than the $3.5 trillion that was initially being considered in Congress. Again, this is already the negotiated price. Okay? The original price was like $6 trillion. This is the compromise. Jesus Christ. The White House had hoped to get an agreement on the president's legislative agenda before he leaves for the G20 summit in Rome and the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow. But Biden's attendance at the meeting on Thursday would come after a major setback for progressives. On Wednesday, Democrats dropped a proposal for paid No. Joe Manchin forced the drop of a proposal for paid family leave and medical leave from the spending package after Manchin raised objections. Joe Manchin is the one that's going to have to look at West Virginians in the eye and say, you don't need paid family leave. You don't need medical leave. What's that? Why would you need that? What? Medical leave? Paid family leave? What? And as this article astutely points out, the US is just one of 8 countries without national paid maternity leave. Unbelievably embarrassing. That's exactly right, Pat. Right. That's why I made that point. And to think, and to think getting caught on the cheating wife used to be enough, but we elected Trump, so I guess that's not a political scandal anymore. Yeah. Like, Jesus. Cinnamon. No, don't say cinnamon. I like cinnamon. We'll just send everyone crystals and say it's enough, right? As she like, does like a girl boss, move or whatever. Some Democrats have said too many key components of Biden's spending package have already been gutted to satisfy Manchin and Sinema without any Republican support. Democrats cannot afford to lose any of the 50 votes in the Senate and must hold their narrow majority together in the House. Yeah, I'm not worried about the House. I think that the House is pretty more or less united, but anyways, this is infuriating. Whatever. Your representative just resigned for stealing COVID aid. Yikes. Wait, a federal representative? Or like a state representative? Because like a state representative, maybe I could see that. Ah. Why won't Manchin resign for helping keeping his state impoverished for 40 years? Because they don't see it that way. They stole it to give to their police budget? Jesus Christ. So it is, about to be November, and apparently the Wall Street Journal is okay with printing in a letter to the editor a delusional rant by President Trump again attempting to and remember, this is also the fake news media, right? The fake news media, but also can't live without them. I mean, no consistency. No consistency whatsoever. I don't like the media. The media is fake news. The media is the enemy of the people. But also, make sure you publish my letter to the editor. Make sure you televise my rallies. Make sure you give me airtime on cable news. But also, I'm being silenced. The GOP in my state did something like that. Never heard about it again. Yikes. Yikes. Even more irresponsibly, the Wall Street Journal published Trump's letter without noting these facts. The former president was deplatformed on Twitter, Facebook, and other social media sites earlier after spreading disinformation about the election for months, inciting a mob of his supporters to storm the Capitol to try and overturn the results. Yeah, like that's the irresponsibility right here. How do you not put a disclaimer? I don't care if this is like a letter to the editor. Like this is not a game anymore. This isn't funny. This isn't like I don't get it. Trump mocked for being reduced to writing letters to the editors in Wall Street Journal to rant about the election. It's not funny. It's not to be mocked. Yeah, that's right. The spice must flow. The spice must flow. Hold on, folks. I gotta let the cat out. And, of course, I will bring her over for a split second. Hold on, folks. Hang tight. Oh, wait, no. My headphones are wireless. I can come with you guys. Hold on. Got anything to say for yourself? Excellent. That didn't hurt at all. Ugh. By the way, Kal-El, have you seen the new Dune? Have you seen the new Dune, and is it good? And follow-up question, is it good? Hey, Increasingly Phil, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. I will see it again and probably again. I will see it again soon and probably again. Nice. Okay, so that sounds good to me. I might check it out at some point. Dune is actually one of the few series of books that I really like. I've got one of them in my possession at this point. And my friend in college introduced me to the Dune series, and I got like hooked. I was hooked. I think I've read a series of them actually. And with infinite rallies and Kickstarters, yeah. True. I don't know if Trump had really, like it's just gonna keep happening. Yeah, the first 6 was great. Part 2 is was approved to go ahead though. Nice. I love Dune. Me too. I think I like the sci-fi. I like the Dune universe. I actually have the Butlerian Jihad, which is the prequel, I think. If you're a full story, you may want to wait till the next one. I think it's only half of the first book. Ah. Yeah. Gotcha. I wish I had enough patience to sit through a movie. Sometimes, it depends if it's good enough. I will certainly watch the first one again before watching part 2. Maybe some theaters will do a double feature. Well, you know, hypothetically. Oh wait, no, yeah, by the time part 2 comes out, this one won't be in theaters. It was well done, good acting, and good story. Awesome. I mean, yeah, Dune is a good story to begin with. I actually saw the old 80s Dune movie with my girlfriend. I can't sit through a movie if stuff's going on every second. Gotcha. Dune universe, moral careful you choose its leaders and messiahs. Yeah. Well, I think that yeah. That movie was so slow. True. It's been tough these days. Yeah. I don't doubt it. Yeah, I watched all of it. Yeah, Frank was very focused on flipping the hero's journey. Yep. Yeah, anyways, TLDR, this is highly irresponsible. It's not funny anymore. And quite frankly, it's dangerous and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. They need to stop giving this guy airtime. For real. I got ADHD and I need something happening every second. Well, I think Dune is supposed to be a sci-fi action movie. TLDR, this is incredibly irresponsible. It needs to stop. It really does. It needs to stop. I will second that. F Mansion. Oil companies face big tobacco moment in Congress over their climate policies. The House Oversight Committee will hear from chief executives of 4 global oil companies on Thursday as part of its investigation into what Representative Carolyn Maloney in New York called the industry decades-long of climate disinformation efforts about the impact of fossil fuels on global warming. The CEOs Darren Woods of ExxonMobil, David Lawler of BP America, Michael Worth of Chevron, Gretchen Watkins of Shell, as well as Mike Sommers from the American Petroleum Institute, the Industry Trade Association, Susan Clark from U.S. Chamber of Commerce will appear. It's the first time they're all testifying together. Maloney, who chairs the Oversight Committee, compared the hearings to the one in 1994 where the CEOs of all the large tobacco companies appeared under oath and answered questions about the industry practices. During that hearing, the witnesses argued smoking wasn't addictive, but admitted publicly the harmful effects of nicotine. It's time for the American people to hear directly from the top fossil fuel executives about how they manufactured and concealed a global emergency while reaping trillions in corporate profits. True. I want to see them explain this one. I mean, like, the real question at the end of the day, because, I mean, although this is good, I'm not going to knock the idea, but at the end of the day, what really matters is what comes after this. Is this just going to be like, they get grilled for 3 hours and then that's the end of it? Or are you actually going to demand that action gets taken? Representative Ro Khanna, who chairs the Environment Subcommittee, cited the same comparison in an interview with NPR, saying it's going to be the big tobacco moment for oil. I think there's a fair one-to-one comparison, like parallel comparison between the tobacco industry and the oil industry. But unlike the tobacco hearing, there will be no television moment for all 4 CEOs sitting at the same table and being sworn in, with lawmakers pressing them for days. For the dais, the witnesses are all appearing remotely, a dynamic due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. I mean, sure. Maloney and Khanna sent letters to all oil companies and business organizations in September seeking information about marketing, lobbying, and communications and research efforts related to climate policy, but Maloney said they have not complied. They've provided documents, but they're not the documents we requested. Of course. At least one company pushed back on that assertion. Casey Norton, spokesperson for ExxonMobil, said they've been communicating with the community staff for months and have cooperated with the request for documents. I don't know. I don't trust a single thing ExxonMobil says. Sorry. What Democratic lawmakers want to uncover in this investigation is how the industry spent money on lobbyists and public relation efforts to influence lawmakers and the public by sowing doubts about climate science and the consequences of climate change. Well, I guess it's different. It hits different when you hear it from, the source, or you hear it from the horse's mouth. But there's been plenty of evidence to kind of cement the fact that not only did these companies know for decades, since the 70s and 80s, but that they actively campaigned to hide and sow disinformation about climate change, about global warming. There's plenty of evidence to cement that fact. Khanna said the committee has other public records and research that can help lay out the industry's record. He adds that he wants to press executives on public campaigns indicating they are taking steps to using cleaner technologies while they're still pushing for leases to expand drilling. Right. And as we saw from that undercover journalist report, that what ExxonMobil says publicly is way different than what they support privately. Okay. That was weird. What we're doing in expanding oil development is totally inconsistent with what they're claiming they're going to do, and these hearings will expose both they knew things and they lied about it, and they continue to deceive. I mean, yeah, the UK has budgeted to take off to take tax off internal flights and HGV fuel. Yikes. Democrats are also likely to press ExxonMobil's Woods about comments from a lobbyist for the company, Keith McCoy, made to undercover activists that Greenpeace released this summer. McCoy talked about efforts to undermine any move to introduce a carbon tax and other regulations. He also boasted about his influence over Senator Joe Manchin, who's the head of the Energy Committee. And other lawmakers would condemn McCoy's comments after the video was circulated. Woods also reiterated the company's support for the goals in the Paris Climate Accord. Yeah, but I'm sorry, but the cat's out of the bag on that one. That's a lie. That's a lie. ExxonMobil's Norton said the company has long acknowledged that climate change is real and poses serious risks. He pointed to the company's investment in new technologies. He added, as the scientific community's understanding of climate change has developed, ExxonMobil responded accordingly. The top Republican on the panel, Representative James Comer, objected to the hearing, arguing the panel is ignoring other pressing issues like immigration enforcement. What? With the president's decision to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, he suggested cabinet officials should be asked to appear, not oil company CEOs. Nah. I need the oil CEOs to explain why they have been lying to the public for decades. Coomer. Colbert. In his opening statement shared with NPR, I'm going to call him Coomer, is blunt about why Democrats have called the hearing. The purpose of this hearing is clear. It's to deliver partisan theater for primetime news. Wait, but that's what... Okay. Yeah, just put more letters in there. Language is fake anyways, true. As for the Greenpeace video, Comer plans to say McCoy's comments were deceptively edited. Oh, okay, deceptively edited? Does anybody feel like that video that we watched was edited in any way, shape, or form? And furthermore, if you're gonna make that claim that it's edited, how? Do you have the full context? Is there other evidence to suggest otherwise? Yeah, just pronounce, Comer's pronounced asshat, exactly. So they should summon McCoy. Yeah, exactly. Right. So then you, as the Republican on that panel, or hearing, or whatever it is, hey, you want to disprove that? Then subpoena McCoy. What's the problem? You got the facts on your side, right? 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 The hearing comes as Democratic leaders in Congress are struggling with the inter-party divisions. No. This is Joe Manchin. Division about policies, including a broad domestic spending bill to combat climate change. President Biden and most Democrats push what's called the clean energy. Yeah, most Democrats. Okay, it's Joe Manchin. Push what's called the Clean Energy Performance Program to give utility companies incentives for switching to greener technologies and impose fees for those that have failed to reduce emission targets. Opposition from Manchin forced leaders to scuttle that approach, and they are working with new fix of tax incentives and research and development grants to try to meet the president's target to cut greenhouse emissions by 50% by 2030. The president, as well as congressional delegation, are headed to a climate summit in Scotland this weekend, and many hope that there will be at least an agreement on a framework on the climate programs to discuss, even if there's no vote on any package. So, okay. Maloney indicated that there would be more hearings on the issue, and that she hoped that the companies would work with us and come clean. Okay. Our committee members will not be satisfied with executives paying lip service to renewable energy and climate change measures while they're investing in fossil fuels and signing contracts well into the future. Right. Exactly correct. Baloney. Yep. On the other side, you guys committed to reduce the overspill of water treatment plants into rivers and waterways. Wait, didn't we read that they scrapped that or that they approved that? I could have sworn we read... I don't know. Now I'm confused. Anyways, these people need to be dragged into Congress and made to testify under oath as to why, knowingly, knowing the studies that they did in the 70s and 80s, knowing this, why they continued and explain themselves to the American people. But really, at the end of the day, the important thing is what comes after, right? Is there going to be any type of action? Doubt at this point. Doubtful at this point. Citing climate, New York nixes 2 natural gas power plant plans. New York Department of Environmental Conservation has denied permits to 2 proposed natural gas upgrades to existing power plants, citing concerns about climate change and greenhouse emissions associated with plants. The agency denied permits to major expansions of the Danskamer Energy Center in Newburgh, New York, and upgrades to the Astoria gas turbine power plant in Queens. In both cases, the agency has determined the proposed project does not demonstrate compliance with the requirements of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, according to a statement. The proposed project would be inconsistent or would interfere with the statewide greenhouse gas emission limits established by the Climate Act. The companies behind this project failed to demonstrate the need or justification for the proposed project, notwithstanding this inconsistency. The move shows that states like New York are getting serious about greening the grid and aren't willing to rubber stamp fossil fuel plants if it comes at the expense of fighting climate change. Well, I wish this was across the board. I mean, there's no... It's not bad that some states are taking aggressive actions like California and New York, but I mean... The decision cite the Climate Act that enacted on January 1st of 2020 that requires the state to push its greenhouse gas emissions to 40% below 1990 levels by 2030. This would result, according to the agency, the project would result in substantial direct greenhouse gas emissions that would make it more difficult for the state to reach its climate goals. The project is also inconsistent with other long-term requirements of the Climate Act, given that it would be a new facility which would use fossil fuels to produce electricity to achieve the state's climate change and clean energy policies as outlined by the CLCPA. The state needs to continue to accelerate its ongoing transition away from natural gas and other fossil fuels. Constructing and operating new fossil fuel-fired plants accomplishes the exact opposite and perpetuates the reliance on fossil fuels. True. Imagine if this was just kind of the norm. Imagine if this was kind of the norm policy across the board. Of just decoupling ourselves from fossil fuels, or at least having the concept, the idea of just not using fossil fuels anymore. I don't get it. This isn't an option. Is what I'm trying to get at. This isn't an option. Below 1960 by 2030 challenge. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the only acceptable, by 2035, the only acceptable course of action right now, that I would like to see from legislation is an aggressive action to decouple ourselves from fossil fuels and to take steps to reorganize our priorities in how we do things, to reorganize our methods of consumption, or to at least establish some type of like new social norms that will encourage disincentivize consumerist practices. Representative Khanna says McCoy had been providing documentation to the Oversight Committee. I think one of them has. I think that's what we read. I don't remember misinformation. Anyways, I need to stand up. I need to take a break. It's 10:30. I need to take a break, or almost 10:30. I need to take a quick break, and we've got this to cover. Right, tea time. Just a quick walk around the room, and a little quick stretch, and I'll be right back. Gotta do some planks? No, I can't do planks. Sorry, I muted myself. There would be like obliques, right? I want to see it. Yeah, we'll play it because I think this is important, at least for a little bit, right? At least for a little bit. So we'll run through this here. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Yeah, for side plank, regular plank is very core. Gotcha. Send it to me via whispers. Misinformation works. Climate change, human activity make forests emit carbon. And the alarming insight is from a study of planet warming gases emitted from and absorbed by forests in UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It revealed that 10 protected forests had emitted more carbon than they locked away for the past 20 years. Over the past 20 years. Holy yikes. The World Heritage Forests span an area twice the size of Germany. And the same research also revealed that the network of 257 World Heritage Forests around the world collectively removed 190 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere every year. That is nearly half the UK's annual carbon emissions from fossil fuels. Jesus. We now have the most detailed picture to date of the vital role that these forests play in mitigating climate change, but the forests face a raft of pressure, including illegal logging, the expansion of farming, and wildfires, which are made more likely by climate change. Combining the satellite-derived data with monitoring information at the site level, researchers estimate that the carbon absorbed and emitted by World Heritage Forests between 2001 and 2020, but as well as calculating the billions of tons of carbon absorbed by all these biomass of trees and vegetation, the research revealed just how much pressure some of these sites were under. The sites studied in this assessment have some of the highest levels of official protection. They are deemed globally significant in the terms of their nature value to the world and closely and continuously monitored. I would argue that pretty much everything has... everything has natural value. Everything is... Okay, but they're still under significant pressure. The main pressures are agricultural encroachment, illegal logging, and human-induced pressures, but we also found climate-related threats, most specifically wildfires. In the recent years, UNESCO called unprecedented wildfires, notably in Siberia, the US, and Australia, have generated tens of millions of tons of CO2. It's a vicious cycle. More carbon emissions mean more wildfires, which means more carbon emissions, and wildfires, it's like a loop. And wildfires are not the only climate-related threat. The World Heritage Sites that were net carbon contributors from 2001 to 2020. Tropical rainforests in Sumatra, Indonesia. Rio Plátano Biosphere Reserve in Honduras. Yosemite National Park, US. Waterton Glacier International Peace Park, Canada and US. The Barberton Makonjwa Mountain, South Africa. Kinabalu Park, Malaysia. The Yuvsnur Basin, Russia and Mongolia. Grand Canyon, US, the Greater Blue Mountain Area, Australia, Morne Trois Pitons National Park, Dominica. Climate change also frees up more oil in the Arctic. Go, go, go! Yep. Yeah, no worries, misinformation. Climate change makes permafrost emit methane and CO2. That is a problem, yes, among other things. The Hurricane Maria destroyed an estimate 20% of the forest cover in Morne Trois Pitons National Park in 2017. That's an alarming message from this study. Even the best and most protected forest areas in the world are threatened by global climate crisis, so the action to cut emissions is really needed now to ensure that all forests can continue to act as carbon sinks and, of course, important sites for biodiversity. Follow-up to that. Gotta go see these places before they're gone. Well, follow-up to that. I just saw that if we stopped killing whales, we could remove 1.7 billion tons of carbon per year from the atmosphere. Yes, that's true. That's right. Actually, unironically true. Yes. Yes. Yep.
Hi, Mike Lang here from Air on the Clock. When you get a new...
Okay, so I assume that this is going to start eventually. We'll see if we can catch some of it.
In this series, we talked a lot about things that can make weather and climate worse, that make disasters more likely, and that put people at risk. But we wanted to know if there are things that we can do to make weather better or even safer. And the answer we found is probably yes. So in this episode, we're visiting one of the most proven and effective drought-preventing, flood-mitigating, carbon-storing systems in the world: forests. but not just any forests. Stay with us because climate scientist Dr. Beverly Law says that even though planting trees clearly has its benefits, she has some pretty shocking news from a carbon storage perspective. This is an old-growth forest with large trees over 150 years old.
That's so beautiful.
The trees are tall, thick, fire-resistant, and half of the matter in them is carbon that they pulled out of the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Nearly everything you see in a forest is half carbon. The branches, trunks, bark, needles, and more. But a forest is more than just living trees. It's a cycle.
So there are little holes in the leaves of all of these trees, all trees, and they take up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and they use some of it to grow new cells. And then soil microbes are decomposing things, so they give off carbon dioxide.
Dr. Law and her team measure the carbon absorbed into and released from the forest using a complex system of towers above the canopy and instruments underground. She was the first scientist to measure the actual carbon fluctuations in a forest over time. And understanding how much carbon goes in and comes out of forests is crucially important if you're hoping that forests will help fight climate change. Here's how it works. First, trees capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through leaves and needles. Then, using energy from the sun, they transform it into their structural biomass through photosynthesis as they grow, releasing oxygen in the process. But forests also naturally release carbon through a process called respiration, as microbes in the soil break down organic material, converting it back into CO2. Tree roots also respire and release CO2. In order for a forest to be a net sink of carbon, the trees have to photosynthesize at a faster rate than the microbes respire. And that's what piqued Dr. Law's curiosity. So what was the thought process about forests before you started your research?
Well, the theory has always been that old forests are
Turbo
net
Town,
carbon
thank you for the
sources to
follow, appreciate that.
atmosphere, or they're net zero. If their sources means they give off more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere than they take up. And that was based on some fairly crude measurements and decades ago. We set out to say, well, what does it take up? And we measured diameter and took tree cores to get their age and measured the height with lasers.
What did you find from your research?
Well, we found that these forests are much more important than people imagined. Mature and old forests are the workhorses. They take up more carbon annually, and they have a lot more stored in the wood. That was astounding, and it put more people to work on trying to look at different age classes of forests to see what was happening at different stages of development.
Dr. Law helped create a global network of research sites like her own, and they all backed up her findings. So if an old forest absorbs more carbon than we thought, how much does a young forest store? After all, that's what we plan on Earth Day, or even to offset the emissions from activities that release carbon into the atmosphere, like plane trips. You made this groundbreaking discovery, right? So you put this carbon monitoring site in an older, mature...
You know, that kind of makes me, that really, like, makes me think about the old sequoia forest. Hundreds of trees got messed up by the wildfires there, from what I understand. God, this is so heartbreaking.
Forest.
Trees that are thousands of years old.
Amazing discovery. And I see the same thing here in this younger forest. So what have you found?
Well, we found that this site was a source for about the first 20 years. Right now it's about 22 years old.
So a carbon source.
Net carbon source. It's not taking up as much carbon from photosynthesis as is given off by respiration from the soil and the trees.
So it's emitting
and the
more
plants.
carbon.
Yeah.
It's absorbing.
Yeah. People are being told or thought that young trees grow fast and vigorous. But when you look at the forest, the net of all the respiration and photosynthesis
I cry when I see trees cut.
makes them
It's
a
incredibly
source.
heartbreaking.
Why is there less photosynthesis here?
The easy way to think of it is
Protect
you look
the
at
trees,
the leaf
yep.
area and you see all this open space on the ground. You
So
look at the
heartbreaking.
shadows. It means it's not reached canopy closure yet. And so that's what they have to photosynthesize with. They're not taking as much carbon up But they're still releasing a lot from the soil, and they're still respiring maybe 80% of what they take up.
So it's just more gaps, essentially.
Yeah, the more
in
gaps.
forest.
Yeah, same, Kal-El. Fern Gully is like ingrained.
Hello, Mr. Session staff. Can I please have you unmute for a quick drink count?
Ingrained into my brain. Yeah, that as a young kid, that is between Fern Gully and watching Animal Planet, and especially Steve Irwin is a hero to me. Steve Irwin and his conservation efforts, and just kind of the way he was with animals, you know? Hey, Silver Night Dragon, how's it going? Yeah, he said that if he could spend every penny that he made buying up land to conserve it, that's what he would do. And did. With every penny.
It's natural. But even when we worked in a plantation, it was about the same kind of thing, 20-something years.
So what does all of this mean? There's nothing wrong with young forests. Eventually, after 10 to 20 years, newly planted forests will become carbon sinks. But the problem is we don't have 20 years to address climate change.
Exactly.
Planting trees now might help in the long run, but those old forests are really the key to storing carbon before we hit tipping points for climate change.
Right, like it's not bad to, of course, do restoration, because it is incredibly important to restore like ecosystems and stuff like that. But we don't have 20 years. I have C-SPAN playing while I'm cleaning, and it will be silent, and I'll forget it's playing, and some folks will start talking. Yeah. I'm an earth conservative. Yeah, like I think that that the only type of conservative that is cool. Yes, we need hemp paper and building materials. Yeah, we can do that right now. I mean, it's not like some wild future technology. It's already like, it's available. It's here. It's quite doable. But gotta protect them profits, folks. We gotta protect them profits. God forbid we touch a single penny. I just saw a horrific story about dog experimentation. Holy yikes. Yeah, hemp can also suck up a lot of carbon, as you have multiple growing seasons per year. And who is responsible for climate change? Well, there is a few responsible. We can name names, like oil companies, at the commercial agriculture, oil and gas, yeah, fishing. We need hemp and paper building materials. Yeah, that's something we can do right now. Yeah, there's nothing really, theoretically, nothing really stopping us from just switching over to hemp-based products. Except profit.
I wanted to find out what happens to all that carbon when old trees are logged. So Bev took me to a mature pine forest that had recently been cut.
Hurricane season runs from June 1 until November 30th, with most Atlantic hurricanes.
Sorry, that was a weird detour. I thought for a second that was actually part of it. Who's responsible? No one person. Right, no one person, but everyone does need to put pressure on the correct people and systems. True. Hemp also draws bad things from the ground, so it can help clean an area. Yep, that's right, Sir Yogi. For soil health, it is incredibly important, or incredibly good for soil health. And we can eat the seeds and use the fiber for other things. Yeah, that's right. Also, fungi doing some dope shit. True.
Well, this is a clear cut, right?
Yeah, they cut everything. All that's left are the stumps. So when it's harvested, and this is U.S. data, only 20% of what is harvested goes into long-term products, saw timber. The rest of it goes into short-term products and intermediate-term products. Short-term products might be gone in 10 years or so. But when you look at all of those numbers together, about 65% of it goes back to the atmosphere within about 30 years.
Wow.
Even if you were to replant it and it was a successful replanting, meaning the regeneration didn't die every year because it's too dry, it takes 10 to 20 years for these forests to become a net sink again. And these forests, the dry forests, take 20 years to become a net sink again.
The location and climate of forests matters a lot for how much carbon they store. If we move west from Bev's mature pine site, we find forests that could be even more important. Coast Range forests in Oregon store the most carbon per acre in the world, even more than the Amazon. And you can see why. There's carbon everywhere. But these old-growth ecosystems are extremely rare. Scientists estimate that 95% of forests in the Northwest have been cut at least once. And while they grow back, it takes forests like this hundreds of years to accumulate this much carbon. So I had to ask Bev, what would she recommend from a climate change and carbon storage perspective when it comes to these rare forests?
Those are the forests, if you were to look over all of the North America, and you said, where are the places that will do the most? It's the Pacific Northwest and then up into Southeast Alaska and Tongass National Forest. Let them grow. Set them aside as carbon reserves. I call it strategic carbon reserves to help fight climate change.
She suggested lengthening commercial harvest rotations to 90 years or more and allowing publicly owned forests to grow indefinitely.
True.
Especially in high carbon density areas.
Yep.
So can forests affect weather? They certainly can change our climate for the better if we let them grow as long as possible. Most disasters that we've been reporting on are made worse by climate change, but preserving carbon stored in forests is something we can actively do to make ourselves safer and the climate more livable. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey, before you go, check out the trailer for our new chemistry series.
Yeah, that's rough.
Today's hearing represents a turning point for big oil. I hope that today the witnesses will finally own up to the industry's central role in this crisis and become part of the change we need. That also means cooperating with this committee's investigation. We asked each of these companies
become part of the change that is needed. Okay, sure.
Climate change and the money trail we asked for. So let me be clear. We are at the beginning of this investigation. I assure you we will not stop until we get to the truth, and if we need to call the CEOs back to testify again, we will. After 4 decades of deception,
yeah, that should be the standard.
It is time for the fossil fuel industry to finally change its ways.
They're not.
Thousands of companies have already recognized the imminent threat of climate change and are working with community leaders and scientists to bring down emissions. It's time for big oil to finally join the rest of us in this fight. We can prevent a climate disaster while keeping energy costs low and creating good-paying jobs.
Yes,
but only
with renewables.
If big oil acknowledges its central role in this crisis and commits to meaningful and immediate action.
They're not.
I now recognize the distinguished ranking member, Mr. Comer, for an opening statement.
Forget the CEO subpoena the records.
Maloney, and
True.
I want to thank the witnesses for their willingness to testify before the committee today. However, I have concerns about today's hearing and the legitimacy of Democrats' so-called investigation of America's oil and gas companies. First, let me remind Chairwoman Maloney and committee Democrats that the Oversight and Reform Committee exists to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal bureaucracy. When are we going to hold a hearing with the Biden administration cabinet member so we can hold the federal government accountable? It's critical that this committee examine the pressing concerns of American citizens. Inflation caused by the Biden administration economic policies is sitting at 5.4%.
No. You damn well know that inflation is not caused by the Biden administration's policies. This is a problem with the supply chain thing. No, the Biden administration also isn't causing the gas prices to go up. You damn well know that these are market things at work here. Rarely do presidents' policies or presidents have a direct hand in changing or messing around with gas prices.
Of an Exxon lobbyist. Committee Democrats won't tell the American people that the basis of their misguided inquiry appears to be a multi-month operation launched by activist group Greenpeace UK involving fake websites and LinkedIn profiles, false job opportunities, and deceptive emails and interviews. Given the questionable activities undertaken by Greenpeace UK to obtain the so-called information at the heart of this investigation, the American people must question the legitimacy of the Democrats' actions. When committee Republicans asked Chairwoman Maloney to join us in requesting the full video back on August 12, 2021, they refused. Ironically, just yesterday,
if you think that this was such a problem, you have the ability to ask questions, and you have the ability to summon witnesses to prove your point.
Democrats didn't invite the person who was secretly recording to the hearing today because they're more interested in a spectacle.
So then why didn't you do it? Wait, this guy's the ranking chair. Why didn't you do it then?
They requested internal documents and communications that these entities had with the federal government and lawmakers. They struck at the very heart of the First Amendment protections that exist for these groups and any American to petition their government. We raised objections to Chairwoman Maloney about the protected nature of these communications and the chilling effect these requests would have on the ability of entities to petition their government. However, Democrats have not bothered to respond to our concerns. The purpose of this hearing is clear: to deliver partisan theater for primetime news. Subcommittee Chairman Khanna went to the media threatening subpoenas months before any of the witnesses were even invited to testify. Now, despite receiving well over 100,000 pages of documents from today's witnesses, Democrats are complaining that no one is cooperating with them.
No,
Maloney,
that's not what they said. They said that the documents, they're not cooperating because the documents that they've submitted is not what they're asking for. Jesus Christ.
Biden admitted that he had no solution for the skyrocketing gas prices.
Because the president has not a hand in the gas. Okay.
And put 11,000 workers out of a job overnight, including the Republican.
That is also a misleading statement. Holy Jesus Christ. Okay, so the 11,000 workers that he's talking about are temporary workers. Okay? They're temporary workers. How much tens of thousands of jobs, good paying jobs, will changing to renewables and transition to renewable energies create?
This isn't about partisanship. This is about getting at the truth. Today, the CEOs of the largest oil companies in the world have a choice. You can either come clean, admit your misrepresentations and ongoing inconsistencies, and stop supporting climate disinformation, or you can sit there in front of the American public and lie under oath. Now, let me remind you of a fact that I'm sure your many lawyers have brought to your attention. In 1994, the CEOs of the 7 largest tobacco companies appeared right here before our committee. They too faced a choice. They chose to lie under oath, denying that nicotine was addictive. As I'm sure you realize, it didn't turn out too well for them. I hope Big Oil will not follow the same playbook as Big Tobacco.
Ha!
You are powerful
Don't hold your breath,
leaders
Rokana.
at the top of the corporate world at a turning point for our planet.
They've been lying for decades. Exactly, Kyle. They've been lying.
Really, we have no interest in it. Spin doesn't work under oath. We've all heard your spokespeople's talking points. Speak from the heart today. You will tell us your companies have contributed to academic research on climate science. That is true. But that is not the issue at hand. Despite your early knowledge of climate science, your companies and the trade associations you fund chose time and again to loudly raise doubts about the science and downplay the severity of the crisis. In short, the question is not, did you prevent academic research on climate science? No one says you prevented that, but did any of your executives at any point mislead the American public? You will say you've now seen the light. You will say you're for a carbon tax to have, quote,
They have been lying. This has been proven from time and time again that the fossil fuel industry has repeatedly lied, has funded and astroturfed campaigns to diminish, to muddy the waters, to spread disinformation, to make sure that the public has, at the very least, a preconception that maybe it's not that bad. Maybe there's two sides to this argument. They've successfully done that for decades. Why didn't they prevent it? Yeah, that's right. They didn't prevent the research. They buried it. These folks need to stop playing nice. I can't handle it. True.
My goal, honestly, is not to embarrass you. It's not to have a gotcha moment. That doesn't help any of us.
What?
You actually have a moment to shine today. You could commit to changing course and taking actions that would avert a climate catastrophe.
They're not going to.
Or you could continue to deny and deceive out of a sense of institutional loyalty to your company's past. The choice is really yours.
No, it's actually not.
Think of the indigenous.
Holy shit! Hold on, I'm actually getting giga triggered. Hold on.
The 5 young activists from the Sunrise Movement.
I'm sorry, but like, it's not the choice isn't necessarily with them. Okay, who makes the rules? Who makes the legislation? Who passes regulations? Holy shit!
Path. Just today, don't think of yourselves as the CEO. Just think of yourselves as human beings. And I have this question. What will you do to end the hunger strike? What do you have to say to America's children born into a burning world? Find it in yourself today to tell the truth. It will be better for your company's futures, and it will be better for humanity's future. Thank you.
And I now recognize Congressman Norman for an opening statement.
Thank you, Chairwoman Maloney, and I want to thank the witnesses for their willingness to testify before the committee today. Today, committee Democrats have contrived yet another hearing to demonize the oil and gas industry. The folks represented before us today run organizations that are providing good-paying jobs and secure affordable and clean energy.
No. So the whole jobs thing is a meme. They're not. Okay, so these jobs can be provided by doing cleaning, actual clean energy. Okay? Fossil fuels are by definition not clean energy. This is disingenuous. This is disingenuous.
Energy workforce or energy independence. I assume
the best thing for energy independence is to not be dependent on is to not be dependent on fossil fuels. They want to act like big oil is a victim? Right, exactly.
What it had on this country. Now we're begging OPEC to make more oil and make it affordable. Members of this committee need to start focusing on the issues that are impacting everyday Americans and the consequences of an overly ambitious and unrealistic climate agenda.
These are climate denial talking points. These are like the classic climate denial talking points. We just can't do it. This is too much. It's too fast. It's too expensive. Look at all the jobs. Like, these are the classic talking points. Like, I swear, ExxonMobil probably could have just written this out for him.
I would love to learn more about the proposal to spend $3.5 billion for the Green New Deal Youth Patrol.
There's no such thing as a Green New Deal. Furthermore, it's $3.5 trillion over 10 years.
Impacts of climate change. Will the Youth Patrol make China and India less of a polluter than they are now?
This is whataboutism. This is absolute whataboutism, trying to shift the blame or trying to say, well, what about this country? Well, what about that country? Yeah, what about them? I'm sorry, hold on. Is the Representative Ralph Norman from, like, does he belong to, like, the Chinese government or the Indian government? I'm sorry, I'm confused here. Is he not a representative of the American government and has responsibilities within his purview to this country? So, if so, then why is he talking about other countries? Yeah, he's trying to make he's trying to talk about the CCC. Let's give OPEC the bird and be done with it. True. He's trying to talk about the CCC, which was wildly popular back then. Here we're talking about inflation, which is irrelevant. Inflation inflation right now is being caused by our supply chain stuff. Nothing to do with anything. I'm getting a good triggered the more I hear about this.
The Democrats' expert, John Kerry, fly over here, I assume in his private jet on fossil fuel, to participate in a debate with him offering the expert for the Democrat side, and we let us have another expert that can contradict many of his statements.
Nope. You see,
Kerry
like, this is beyond asinine. This is beyond asinine. This is beyond asinine. Why? How are you trying to make this? This is a classic, like, I swear, this is probably, like, is this guy, like, can somebody confirm? Is this guy, like, paid by Big Oil? Does this guy have, like, massive contributors from Big Oil? These are the classic talking points, like, one by one by one. But there's some kind of, like, two sides to this argument. There's no two sides to this argument. Okay, just to be clear, there's no two sides to this argument. Growing crisis, gasoline prices. Yeah, this is a market problem. Okay, this has nothing to do with President Biden. Holy shit! Oh my god.
Oil and gas industry provide good-paying jobs that help Americans reliably heat their houses.
Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. Okay, so would a green and renewable industry would also provide good paying jobs and would also provide the energy needs for American people. China ended all coal subsidies and contracts for new plants abroad. That's 190 plants ended. Nice.
Months has no plan to confront these mounting problems, especially that affect everyone, but especially low-income Americans. The United States has abundant clean energy, natural resources. We must use these resources to advance America's interests while continuing to lead the world in emission reductions. This is a path forward, but the Democrats want to block it at every chance they get. Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our witnesses. Our first witness today is Mr. Darren Woods, who is the CEO of ExxonMobil. Then we will hear from Michael Worth, who is the CEO of Chevron. Next, we will hear from David Lawler, who is the CEO of BP America. Next, we will hear from Ms. Gretchen Watkins, who is the president of Shell
Reliable
Oil.
energy, which is used because they've been
Next, we will hear
trying to paint
from
renewable as
Mr. Mike
unreliable.
Summers, who is
Right, which is again a classic talking. Like I'm telling you, they're doing the greatest hits. They're doing the greatest hits of climate change denial. All the talking points that I see over and over and over again. Yeah, gigawatts. Yeah, I want to see their faces. Don't worry, they're gonna come on. They're doing virtual meetings. And to conservatives, what is these folks are like unreasonably attached to founding documents and founding fathers and all this other stuff, right? I believe one of our founding documents start with or have in their opening statement something about something preserving life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Do you know what like would deeply hamper the ability to pursue life, liberty, to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Having your home engulfed in flames from a wildfire, having your home destroyed by a flood, having your home destroyed by a hurricane, having coasts eroded by rising sea levels, not being able to get food because of climate change destroying crops, not being able to get water. That might be a little bit of a threat to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Most government workers didn't start to affect change. Next, you'll see the part-time government jobs. Norman is funded by Big Telecom, Lumber, Cotton, and the House Freedom Fund. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, wait, is he trying to justify? Well, actually, gas has been a crucial, important thing that in American... shut up.
The access to energy. That is not the case for billions of people around the world. Many still lack basic electricity or clean cooking facilities for their homes. Access to reliable and affordable energy is more than a convenience. Energy delivers longer, healthier lives, better education, greater mobility, and improved living conditions. It's one of the basic requirements that power economies and societal progress. ExxonMobil and its roughly 70,000 employees are proud of the contributions we make every day to improving the lives of people all around the world. It is vitally important work. We also recognize that society must continue to diversify our energy mix to address climate change. ExxonMobil has long recognized that climate change is real and poses serious risks.
Yeah, we know you know. Nobody's disputing that. We know you know. The problem is you've hidden the serious implications and how you are involved.
We currently do not have the adequate alternative energy sources.
That's not true.
At the same time, we know the combustion of oil and gas releases greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has concluded that increased greenhouse gases can contribute to the effects of climate change.
And who's at the head of that?
We must address, and one that we are well positioned to continue our work on.
That's a lie.
Reducing the emissions that result from the combustion of oil and gas. This hearing comes at an important time as the world is challenged with how to meet the growing need for energy while reducing emissions to mitigate climate change. The recent disruption of energy supplies in parts of the world has resulted in outages, fuel lines, and manufacturing shutdowns.
Yeah, hey, you know what else would have been like massive to not have those problems? Renewable energy. Renewable energy doesn't rely on gas lines being shut down. Renewable energy doesn't rely on these issues waiting for oil and waiting for gas and things like that. Renewable energy is reliant just on the sun, wind, hydroelectric. All of these things can be combined to make sure that our power grid doesn't shut down in the same way that it would with your stuff.
Significant additional reductions in both emissions intensity and absolute emissions.
I don't care.
We
I don't believe
launched
it.
a low carbon solutions business to commercialize carbon capture and other technologies, such as hydrogen and biofuels, to reduce emissions in the parts of the economy that are the hardest to decarbonize. As the International Energy Agency recognized this year, carbon capture contributes to the transition to net zero in multiple ways, and it represents one of the biggest opportunities for innovation to address emissions.
No. The biggest opportunity to reduce emissions is to move to the already proven, cheap, effective methods, which is decoupling ourselves from fossil fuels, which includes moving to renewable energy sources like solar would probably be at the top of the list. Oh yeah, sorry, hold on guys, hold on. I'm sorry, the sun could just go out at any given point. You're right, I'm sorry.
Through research to develop the next generation of lower emission fuels and fuels technologies, including advanced biofuels. We do that through research and development by our own scientists and by collaborating with leading universities, governments, and private companies around the world. Finally, ExxonMobil has been engaged in policy discussions related to the energy and environment for years.
Wrong. Wait, if you really think that, if this guy really believed that, and ExxonMobil knew about the effects of climate change for decades, why haven't they done anything? If they knew about this and they're committed to the transition of clean and renewable energy and a sustainable planet, and you knew about this for decades, or at least the CEO back then knew for this, the company knew about this for decades, then why haven't they done anything about it? They didn't plan on it. They're not planning on doing anything about it.
All of us use and depend on today's energy system. We all have a role to play in finding solutions to climate change that will reduce emissions while meeting the growing need for energy in order to improve lives around the world. I welcome your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Worth.
I'm
You are now
unbelievably
recognized for your
giga-triggered.
testimony, Mr.
Holy
Worth.
shit.
Chairwoman Maloney and Ranking Member Comer, Subcommittee Chairman Khanna, and Ranking Member Norman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Michael Worth, and I am the Chair and CEO of Chevron. For more than 140 years, Chevron has proudly delivered energy that drives the world forward. Light, heat, mobility, mechanized agriculture, modern medicine.
That's not a good...
are made possible by affordable, reliable, and ever cleaner energy. In many ways, our story and that of our industry track the history of human progress. These are stories of extraordinary achievements over the past century plus, achievements that were once believed impossible. Today, we're one of the world's leading integrated energy companies. We contribute.
All right, this self-fellatio, I can't do it. I can't do it. The self-fellatio, I can't do it. I can't. I swear to God, like 8 months ago, they had another hearing with oil companies and it went just like this. I didn't even hear about that one. Thank you, CEO of Chevron. We wouldn't be here without you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you. Like, I fail to see what the relevance is whatsoever about like this entire word salad that he's like spitting out. This is like a massive non sequitur, okay? Because this has absolutely nothing to do with the idea of transitioning to green renewable energy. Nothing. This guy, the literal argument here is, well, we brought us to this point, and the advancements that we've done to this point was because of us, and therefore we shouldn't change. This is the argument of like, we can't We can't move to the light bulb because we would put out the candle makers out of business. There's no reason why we should ever innovate and change and progress forward because we would destroy the candle maker business. We should never have changed to the automobile industry because that would take out the horse and carriage. And like, I don't get it. I don't get what this guy's argument is. This is literally a non sequitur. It means all that means absolutely nothing. I literally, I don't care. I unironically don't care. How does it have to do with the transition to green energy?
To sharing the actions we're taking, and more details about those actions are included in my written testimony. We welcome a thoughtful discussion about the path ahead and how we can achieve a lower carbon energy future.
No,
While at the same
lower
time,
carbon
avoiding supply disruptions
isn't good enough.
and preserving American leadership in energy.
The best way to preserve or to even begin to talk about American leadership in energy is to be the forefront, to be at the forefront in innovating and producing green energy. That would be leadership. That would be leadership. That's what I want to see. I want to see America take the lead of. I'm just using like their kind of logic, and produce and be the biggest exporter of green energy, and start working on green energy belt and road initiatives. That's what we need. Yeah, again, more self-fellatio. They create good paying jobs. Shut the fuck up. He looks so smug and confident. He knows nothing's gonna happen to him. Yeah, probably. This is unironically giga triggering me. Like beyond the pale. This is beyond the pale. This is unbelievable to me. Right. Yeah, Chevron owns you and you don't ever forget it. And by the way, as we F you, as we F the planet on our way out, you have to say thank you to us. Okay? As we F the planet, you have to say thank you to us as we destroy the planet, as we essentially like bring down as we bring down the the environment with us, the next generations and generations after. And just make sure you thank us on your way out. Those two guys would sacrifice all of us to keep getting oil money. True. He's a cynical Luddite. Yeah. Just make sure that you remember what Chevron did to you, what Chevron does for humanity, and as it's being destroyed, as the planet is being destroyed, as the planet continues to get wrecked. Make sure you thank us, because it was because of us that you have heat. It's because of us you have whatever the self-fellatio that they were doing. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable to me. I want to see what, if anything, comes out of this. The reality is, spread it forward, and based on the attitude that I see from Congress, based on the attitude I see from President Joe Manchin, I'm not confident. Chevron recently set legal precedent that corporations can prosecute and convict journalists without any intervention from the Justice Department. Are you thinking about his last name starts with a D. Chat, can you please remember? Chad, if you can you please remind me who that was? I think his name was something. His last name starts with a D. Donziger, thank you. Yeah. By the way, none of this means anything to me. None of what these guys are saying means anything to me. Time and time again, they have shown that they're not interested in actually solving any problems. They're not interested. The only thing they care about is what plans they have to increase by any means necessary their pockets. By any means necessary, what increases profit? They're not there. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care about what impacts their products have to the environment. They don't care what it does to animals. They don't care what it does to people. They don't care what it does to the water. They don't care what it does to the ecosystems. They don't care. All of this, you know what? The Republican senator is correct. All of this is theater to them, but to them, okay? They don't care. They'll tell you that, yeah, we're working on it. Yeah? You're working on it? That's strange. Because you knew about this since the 80s and 70s. You're working on it? It's 2021, my friend. Also, it turns out that what you just said about supporting climate change policies, it's usually just a flat-out lie. They may say publicly, as they're doing now, that yes, of course we support climate change policies. We aim, between those positions and those of the trades associations to which we belong to, we believe that here at BP America, BP America, that we believe that working towards a sustainable goal in reducing emissions and working towards a sustainable planet is part of our company mantra. And then they'll turn around and they'll do the exact opposite. They'll make sure they have lobbyists to they make sure to have lobbyists, an army of lobbyists, to make sure that doesn't happen. In reality, they'll make sure that they have just enough senators to not make it happen. By the way, all this is corpo speak. Corporate speak. It means nothing. Yeah, look at them. They're so adamant. The need for action on climate change and Shell's efforts to advance society's transition to a lower carbon future. Lower carbon future? Lower carbon future? What? There's no rhetoric or no wording in any of the scientific studies that say we need to have a lower carbon future. Almost all of them call for a complete net zero, and in some cases, net negative. There is no lower carbon future. They're basically self-reporting that they knew they spoiled the world, knew about it the entire time, and they're proud of it. Yeah, in fact, you're supposed to thank them for it.
Concerns about climate change. Our first sustainability report in 1998 noted that human activity and the use of fossil fuels could affect the climate. Shell has issued a sustainability report every year since, and the subsequent reports have discussed climate change and the challenges that it poses.
Yeah. Okay. Great. You're just like Spread It Forward said. You're just saying that you knew about this repeatedly, not just once, not just like a fluke of a study. No. You knew about this time and time again, and you chose to continue to do business as usual because, of course, none of that matters. It is just profit. It's the only thing you care about. Fuck off. Okay. Alright, folks. It is almost 11:30. So I do have to get going. This is unbelievable. I can't do it. Alright, folks. I do have to get going. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, exactly. Profit. Love it. Oh yeah, link to the hearing. I'm sorry. I just yeeted it off the screen. Fuck. Lower your blood pressure before continuing your day. There's no amount of meditating that is gonna fix that, trust me. Okay. There you go, folks. If you guys want to keep listening to it, there's the link in chat. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. I really do. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoyed the content, don't forget to follow on your way out. Make sure you also spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be, except for today. The chillest place to be for news and politics, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And join us Saturdays for Saturday Catterdays. Thank you, Darknet. Thank you, Spread It Forward. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the subs. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate that. Material Scroll, thank you for the subscription. Thank you. I appreciate that. As always, guys, thank you so much. Your support is what makes us grow. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Love you all and hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Whew. Alright, folks. Hang tight. We're going to... actually, we haven't seen Comrade Bubbles in a while. They're playing The Sims. Let's just chill there. Let's just chill there. They usually have a very cool, chill vibe, so let's just hang out there. Alright, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Hopefully you feel better. Thank you. I appreciate that. You have a good one.